It began like any other day for the two activists, with laughter, excitement, and the promise of adventure. Boniface Mwangi and Agatha had just crossed the border into Tanzania. Two friends, both activists, driven by a love for humanity and a longing for truth. But what awaited them beyond that border wasn't the warmth of East African hospitality, it was a nightmare. As they entered Tanzania, nothing seemed unusual. Their documents were in order, their spirits high. But the sudden stop by Tanzanian police changed everything. The officers demanded identification, and with a smile, Boniface handed over his passport. But something in the officer's expression shifted. Suspicion, perhaps something worse. And from that moment, things took a dark turn. They were ordered to alight. No explanations, no legal procedure. Boniface, ever calm, tried to assert his rights. But rights mean nothing when you're at the mercy of corrupt power. They were surrounded, their phones taken, their voices silenced. Boniface remembers the sound of his own voice fading into helplessness. Agatha could only watch as the situation spiraled. They were thrown into a car. Not a police vehicle. No, an unmarked, dusty car. No sirens, no badges, just raw fear. That was the first sign that this wasn't an arrest. It was an abduction. From the inside of that car they drove, far from the city, far from anyone who could help. Agatha held her breath. Boniface clenched his fists. Every kilometer was a prayer unanswered. They were taken to an isolated police post. There, they were searched, questioned, insulted. Boniface's camera equipment was of particular interest, evidence, they were told, of spying. Agatha, an innocent traveler, was accused of being a part of something sinister. The officers accused them of being foreign agents, of coming to destabilize Tanzania. It was absurd. It was terrifying. For hours, they were kept apart, alone, vulnerable. No food, no water, no phone call. And when Boniface tried to reason, to explain, he was met with cold stares and sharper threats. "You will not leave this country," one officer muttered. "People disappear here." That sentence hung in the air like a noose. Boniface thought of his children. Agatha thought of her parents. The fear wasn't just about pain, it was about being forgotten, buried without a name, silenced without a story. But they refused to let fear win. Boniface used what little strength he had to reason to negotiate. He asked for clarity, for a charge sheet, for legal rights. In return, he was blindfolded and moved to yet another location. Night fell, and with it came the realization that they might not make it out alive. Then, something shifted. Pressure was building on the outside. Word had begun to spread. Journalists, activists, friends, allies were speaking out. Tanzania's silence was breaking. International outrage was rising. That noise from outside the walls started to echo through the corridors of power. Finally, after hours that felt like eternity, Boniface and Agatha were put in yet another vehicle. No explanations, just movement. This time they were driven, not to court, not to the police, but straight to the Namanga border. "Leave," they were told. Now. They stepped back onto Kenyan soil, broken but alive. Behind them, Tanzania still refused to acknowledge what had happened, but they had survived, and with survival came a new fire. Boniface and Agatha didn't run. They spoke. They told the world. They exposed the corruption, the injustice, the horror that lives in silence. They reminded us all that our borders don't always protect us, that our flags don't always mean safety, that power unchecked can turn any land into a prison. This story isn't just about Tanzania, it's about the danger of silence. It's about what happens when law becomes lawlessness, when citizens become suspects, when truth is treated as treason. But it's also a story of resilience, of two souls who stood firm, who refused to be broken, who used their voices, even when trembling, to speak for those who couldn't. And now, the question turns to us. What will we do with their story? Will we scroll past, or will we stand with them? Because today it was Boniface and Agatha. Tomorrow, it could be you.